it's Mark, you have Mark, aka Hyponics QDXO, and I'm just here to do a quick little tutorial, basic Mage Keybinding macro setup video for the YouTube. Everyone asks me a lot in my stream, what's your, what macros do you use, Mark? What keybindings do you use? But I always like to tell people, use what's comfortable to you. But a lot of people go, no, I want to know what you use. So I'm going to just quickly try and go through my keybinds and macros that I use on a regular basis here. So I know I keybind most of my stuff, but a few things I do click. I'll just go ahead and let you know what those are now before we get into it. I click my armors. Usually I start off arena matches with mage armor. Generally that's what I'm going to start off with. If I see it's a double melee, I will switch over to ice armor. That'll be the first thing I do. But I do click my armors, so you're only using mage and ice armor really, so you don't have to worry about the other armors. And mana gem is also something I click. Some people may be against that, some people may not. I mean, it's not a big deal. When you see mana gems up, you usually have a free time to click it while you're running around, maybe pillar humping while you're waiting for a cooldown to come up, or you're taking damage and you see your mana gems off cooldown, so you just click it while you're back there. So it doesn't really hold you back from anything. Okay. Now buffs I also click. Dampen, amp, whatever. I click those. You usually don't end up reapplying them unless in possibly a duel situation, and then even then if you are reapplying them, you usually have the other person polyed, or like let's say versus a priest where you want to stack as many buffs as possible, you usually get them polyed, or if you're running away and whatnot, you can reapply it as you're running and looking back, putting up slow fall, whatever, so you can cover up your barrier so it doesn't get stripped. Alright, enough with buffs. We're all buffed up. Obviously you want to bind your most used and necessary keys closest as possible. So what I have here is Frostbolt, Ice Lance are 1, 2, Cone of Cold 3, Fire Blast 4, Nova's 5, Ice Barrier's T, because that's something you want to have close. Ice Barrier is your saving grace. You need to have that up at all times. X is for my arcane missiles, and pretty much I only use that when I know an enemy is going to go into LOS, and it's kind of like a finisher. So you have a rogue at 10%, and you see him, he's running back in the LOS behind a pillar. You're going to want to start casting an arcane missiles because you know you can finish him, because it channels through LOS if you start casting it before they get behind LOS. Next up we have counterspell is F. That's probably your most important, one of your most important keybindings as a mage. Counterspelling is huge. Hitting a counterspell at the right time can be game breaking. So let's say we're casting a Frostbolt and enemy druid that I have on focus, which my set focus is caps lock. I like that because my fingers are close to that. I can quickly set and reset my focus to whatever I want. So let's say this target dummy is our druid, and I'm DPSing his shaman and their LSD. So I've got my pet out, I'm about to cast Shatter, and I see him casting Cyclone. I want to get a quick counterspell on that Cyclone before it interrupts me, and also to lock out his nature spells. So you said, wow Mark, you're casting Frostbolt, how'd you get the counterspell? Well, I use a macro. The macro is, I'll show you right here, go to my macros. It is stop casting, and then /cast target equals focus counterspell. So stop casting means, even though you're casting, the macro will actually stop your cast for you where you don't have to move or do anything. It'll instantly cast it. See how I stop casting? I press it and it stops casting. Otherwise, if you're spamming it, it'll wait till you finish your cast of Frostbolt and then go off, which would cause you can miss the counterspell, which could be game breaking. Alright, next I'll just show you deep freeze. I have a shift W. Your fingers are always close to that, so it's something I can press real quickly. Shift D is my focus deep freeze. So let's say the druid's casting again. Get him in a deep freeze. Then I can see on my focus bar when deep freeze is about to phase into a counterspell. That's more useful in 2s. That way you can string together CC to get a kill. Alright, moving up. R is polymorph. Polymorph is also your other ability that you're going to be using a lot, and one of your most useful abilities. So R is polymorph. Shift R is focus polymorph. I use Shift 2 for blink. Shift 3 is Mana Shield, which you're only using if you absolutely have no other way of healing and you will die without it. It's kind of something you use to save yourself from dying.
This banana's so amazing.
We had a little interruption there while I was recording. My roommate walked in the room and started telling me about how amazing the banana was he was eating. Okay, but I was talking about Mana Shield. So, Mana Shield. This is Shift 3 for me. It's something that you only really want to use if you're about to die. Without mana, a mage is completely worthless and easily killable. So, only use Mana Shield if you've got a shitload of mana and you're absolutely going to die unless you put it up. So, my shaman's hard counterspelled. I've got 15% health, I've got 80% mana, and I'm going to die unless I Mana Shield. And you can also spam Mana Shield because it fades. So, if you're taking a lot of damage, and let's say you do have a lot of mana to spare, you can spam Mana Shield to keep yourself alive, which is very, very helpful sometimes. Yes, you will waste most of your mana, but you could stay alive to, maybe fight and come back and get a win. Let's say you have Evo up still, and you do drain most of your mana, but you do stay alive, and you get your Shadow Priest gets a good fear, and then you get a full Evo off. So, that's just something to think about. Shift 4 is my Icy Veins. Shift S is pull out my pet. V is Frost Ward, and Shift V is Fire Ward. These are really important spells to use. A lot of beginning mages don't use these spells. If you see a Lava Burst incoming, you could actually cast Fire Ward and it will absorb almost all of the damage from that. I also put it up if I know I'm about to get immolated and I have no way of interrupting it off of a Warlock. You can throw up Fire Ward and that could absorb the damage, also absorb the ticking damage. So it's really important to use that. Against Frost Mages, you're going to want to put up your Frost Ward, etc. Next few things I have, Decurse is F2. I mean, it's not the most crucial ability, but sometimes it can be. That's why I have it bound to the F keys. Some people don't like using the F keys, so it's a personal preference. I have personally used them for a while, so I'm quick at getting to them, and it doesn't bother me. I use the tilde console button for those of you who played Counter-Strike for Ice Block. Now, you might wonder, how do good mages always get out of their Ice Block so quickly? Do they go and click Ice Block off? No. What we actually do is, I have Ice Lance. In front of my Ice Lance, I have it bound /cancel aura Ice Block. So if I'm in an Ice Block, I can click my Ice Lance key, which is 1, and it will bring me out of the Ice Block. That way they're right next to each other, tilde and 1, so I really like that setup. I don't know if a lot of mages use this, but it works for me, so that's that. Shift E is my Evo. It's something I've just been using for a while. I don't think that's the best binding for Evo, since Shift E is something that you may want to bind to a more important skill than Evo. Evo is on a 4-minute cooldown, but then again, it is what it is. Some mages don't even bind Evo, but that's just me. Mouse button 5 is my trinket. I love that key binding. I think that's one of the best key bindings for a trinket out there. Your thumb is right on that button. I use a Logitech G13 mouse, so it's that mouse 5 button. It is right there, and I could trinket something so quickly. My finger's already on the button the whole time I'm playing, pretty much. So I like to bind trinket to something that you can click as quickly as possible. So that's a great key binding. I use it on all my characters. G is my Cold Snap, which resets all your frost abilities. I mean, it's pretty close, so it's a decent binding for Cold Snap. You're going to be able to use it usually once during a match. Shift T, this is a great key binding that I have. Shift T is my Frostfire Bolt, and also macroed into my Frostfire Bolt, I have used my Rocket Gloves. So, let's get a Frostfire proc here, and I'll show you how we can set up some big burst. Brain Freeze. Alright, we got a Brain Freeze proc, so I'm casting. I know I've got it up. Range Nova, get him in a Deep Freeze, get a Frost Bolt, and then boom, boom, boom. What do you got there? Like 20-something K damage. So Shift T will cast my Frostfire Bolt. Now, if I don't have a Brain Freeze proc, but I do want to still use my Rocket Gloves, let's say to get in combat, so you don't get sapped. You can still jump and hit Shift T and it'll shoot your rocket gloves without the brain freeze proc. So you don't have to have two separate keybinds, one for your rocket glove and one for your frostfire. You can bind them together. Let's see. F1 I have is Arcane Torrent. Not everyone's gonna have this, but that's an awesome ability. I love it. Shift 1 is rank 1 Frostbolt for me. That's an awesome ability. A lot of beginner mages don't realize how important that ability is. It oftentimes procs Fingers of Frost. It also puts a slow effect up on your target, and one stack of Winter's Chill. So when I get a rank 1 up, I oftentimes get the proc. If not, they're slowed, and I can polymorph them. I use this every time I'm going to polymorph against a team with a Warlock, so it doesn't get dispelled the first time by the pet. So I can run up, get a real quick rank 1, set him as my focus, Shift R, get a poly off, and hopefully RNG is on my side and it doesn't get dispelled because I've got 2 debuffs already on the target while only casting 1 buff. Shift G is my frag belt. I mean, you don't really use that in arena, but that's more for duels. Like I said, I click mana gems. F4 is my mirrors. F3 is my BM trinket, and it's also macro to Hellstone. In case I'm playing with Warlock, it will use BM trinket and Hellstone. I love this keybind, my spell steal keybind. I use mouse button 3. It's great for me because a lot of times, I mean, this is more of a very important ability for mages. Spell stealing is awesome. You want to be able to access it quickly while you're still using other abilities. So I'll be spamming it on someone while I'm still doing other stuff. It's a great ability, and I recommend everyone to use it. I don't know why I have Frostfire here on my bar, but it's just there. It looks pretty. Invis, I click Invis, and I also click it off. It's not the best way to use Invis, but you rarely use it other than the beginning of a match or if you run RMP, whatever. So that's that. B is my Blizzard. And that's pretty much all my key bindings. Hopefully that helped. I'm gonna actually put up the macros here at the end. I'm not quite sure where I'm gonna put these macros in. Maybe I'll list them all here at the end of the video, but you'll see them. They'll be here for you. Hopefully that was helpful to you guys, and stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe to me. I'll be making sure to put out some videos on at least a weekly basis. So thanks for watching, and this is Hyponics, aka UF Mark. Check out my Justin TV. I'll post a link up there. I stream very frequently. So yeah, thanks for checking it out. Peace.